am in business to satisfy that client because that person is paying money.
Ghanaians love money.
You want sustainable profit, or you just want profit immediately? It looks like a big word.
For example, in Ghana, we say the system is not working.
Those in the corporate world, the private sector, they seem to do well.
Yes.
But there we don't say systems are not working. So many systems have to come together to keep you healthy. But if there are no systems, it will be very difficult for you to do problem solving. So what I'm coaching or training people is to help them understand how to apply those systems. For a customer, that determines whether you are performing as a business owner or not. Right mindset is to make sure that you satisfy the client.
What do you think is the most basic system that every budding entrepreneur should have?
Every consumer is interested in at least 4 basic things.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the After 5 podcast. Today, we are going to discuss systems, and I have with me someone who is well-versed in this part of business. He is a manufacturing consultant, and he goes by the name Kwaku Boateng. Kwaku, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, Kwaku. So, my first question would be about systems, right? You know, in our bodies, we have the cardiovascular system, we have respiratory system, and all of those things. So when it comes to systems, I believe that there has to be things put in place to ensure that these real systems work. In your line of work, manufacturing, how important is, or how would you rate systems as one of the most important things in your role?
That's a good question. I think it's everything, like you said. And I like the analogy you used about the human body.
Yes.
Everything is about systems, right? So it's the whole systems that make you efficient. So in manufacturing, like where I work, that's what we do. You need to put in systems in place to make sure that you are efficient and you continue to be in business. So systems is.
So my next question would be about, for example, societies, businesses, and all of, our various aspects of life, how systems play a role. I understand that, of course, our bodies are like that. And we have so many systems. For example, in Ghana, we say the system is not working. People say that, what system is not working? And I just want you to give us more insight on systems in general, overview of systems, and wherever it applies, not just in your line of work. I believe that you're an expert in systems generally, so I just wanted you to, throw more light on systems generally and how relevant they are in our even everyday lives.
Now, that's a good question. And I just want to illustrate it in very simple terms, right? Because sometimes people hear systems, and it looks like a big word.
Yes.
But simply put, they are just the things you put in place to make sure that in the context of business, your business survives, all right? Ideally, you are in business, although, yes, the reason why you set up a business is to make profit, but the right mindset is to make sure that you satisfy the client. Whoever is patronizing the products that you have. The product could be a service, it could be tangible, it could be food, it could be drinks, whatever product it is. So then the systems are, what are the things that I should put in place so that that client will be happy? In simple terms, that's all that the systems are. The things that you put in place. So can I give you an example? Let's take a restaurant, right? I like food, so.
Of course, we all do.
So if you take a restaurant,
Yes.
as a business, if you think about it, a business actually is a macro process. Macro in the sense that it's big. You think about it, a business is actually a verb, it's an action. So somebody's, to what? Business of buying and selling. To the business of what? Packaging. To the business of this. To the business, like if someone should ask you, what do you do? The first word that comes is a verb. I teach. I train. I coach. That's your business. Good. So in that context, a business are a set of actions, processes that you use to deliver your output.
That's a great response.
All right, you see that? So those processes, those actions are the systems you are talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of business people, and one of their biggest struggles, they usually talk about the human resource. So how important are the humans in your organization to your system building? Because, for example, you can have the systems in place, but how relevant are the people who are in there to ensuring that your system actually stands the test of time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, humans do everything, right? So even in organizations where you want to build in more technology to help, it's still the human being that has to do
Yeah.
something one way or the other. So you cannot really neglect the human beings in your organization who actually make sure that everything that you want for the client comes to pass. So humans are extremely crucial.
All right, great. So then what skill do you need to ensure that you get the right kind of people to ensure that your system survives?
Absolutely. So that's another system, right? So the system of recruitment, how you recruit, what should you look out for in the person? But everything is still determined by the client. Remember,
Yes.
So that product you are giving out, what is the client's feedback on it? What are they saying that they want? What do they want you to improve? Now, based on that, now you work backwards and say, okay, if this is what the client said they want, then what kind of a human being do I need in my business to give the client what they want?
I see.
You see that? So let's take an example. Again, I will still use the restaurant as an example. So some people have restaurants, they cater even for weddings, funerals, and they say, I contract you, you come and cater for my wedding or my funeral. But afterwards, I don't even get feedback from that person that, how did it go? Did you like it? They just look at it that, okay, it was a contract. I mean, I've delivered and everything. So another person thinking systemic, right, could think about, okay, I need to have another system in place where I can capture the ideas, the feedback from people. But then hold on, in the modern age of technology, I have to use something about technology for people to get me their feedback. Look, I don't have anyone, I don't have any employee who can do that. Now that comes with recruitment to think about how can I get someone who is well versed in technology to develop, is it an app, software or something for me to capture clients' feedback. So how you recruit people is still determined by the products that you churn out and especially clients' request. As it were.
So if I may seek clarity, so your system should usually more often be based on the products or services you are providing and what the client needs. So these are the two
Absolutely.
main things that we should
Absolutely.
always look out for. Great. So I know that you train people in systems, you coach and all of that. Usually, I want us to bring it home because
Sure.
we really want to, as a nation, we need to move forward.
Sure.
We need to, we've said it for decades, the system doesn't work. So
Yes.
people keep on leaving. The brain
Yes.
drain in this country, it's as a result of systems not working. I wouldn't mention any government organization. I don't want to be blacklisted, but there are certain places you go and you could clearly see that the system is not working. Something has gone amiss. You have to maybe put money down, give somebody money and all of that. From where you sit as a private person and from your experiences within system building over the years, what would you think or what do you think that the government should do? For individual, organizations, not the government is about individual organizations, what can they put in place to ensure that there's some level of accountability and us, the citizens of the country, who are the clients, because you mentioned
Yes.
products and clients,
Yes.
get what, we deserve.
It's a bit tricky comparing the private sector to the government sector, right? And I think no one can dispute that fact that those in the corporate world, the private sector, they seem to do well.
Yes.
There we don't say systems are not working, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So systems work. But yeah, the government context, like I said, is a bit tricky because even the mindset of people that, okay, this is really not my own. And so then I can choose to do things the way that I want, which is really not the right mindset to have. So it's a bit complex talking about the government sector, right? Because of
The
mindset
mentality.
and everything.
Back to the human resource.
Exactly.
So it has to do with, we may have the system in place, but if the people decide not to, go by the systems, then it becomes a challenge.
And for so many different reasons, right? So in that context of when Ghanaians say the systems are not working, remember, they look at it more in the context of the laws.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Because again, having laws is part of having systems.
exactly.
So you have laws that should be working, but because of whatever political reasons, so something that I need to apply to make it work, I either refuse to apply it or I overdo it. And that is why people will talk about systems not working, but it is totally different from the corporate world. Yeah.
So for the corporate world, you would say that maybe because they are, I mean, legally, most of the time, if there's no repercussions for your actions, people don't really toe the right line most of the time. Because if nothing will happen to you if you do what is wrong, then there's no motivation to do what is right, especially if the wrong thing profits you. You understand? So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking aloud here. So, for example, in your coaching and then training, when you, for example, walk into an organization, what are the first few things you look out for before you said, okay, these are the systems that we should work on? What are the first few things that would jump to you and you'd be like, okay, Kwaku, I'm here. I need to do something. They called me in to help your systems. What do you look out for?
Okay, all right. I'll answer in two ways, right?
Sure.
So I'm a manufacturing consultant, but I still an employee of a multinational.
Exactly.
So in my coaching in multinational, the systems are already there. All right. So what I'm coaching or training people is to help them understand how to apply those systems. All right. So for example, problem solving. So if you're working and you have a problem, how do you go about solving the problem? What methodology do you need to go to? So it's a different context, like within my organization, because the systems are already there. Now, if I were to answer it to your point, maybe a private individual now consults me to say, okay, Kwaku, help us build systems. Then what kind of systems am I going to? Again, I want to start from the basics again. First of all, as a business person, you need to understand who your clients are. It's so clients are the most important people of a business because they are the ones that keep you in business. Now, remember, I want you to appreciate this concept very well. So you identify your client. Now, the next step, the connection between you and your client is the product or the output. All right.
Yeah.
So that is the intersection, as someone would say. That relationship between me and my client is that product. So I am giving out the product, and the client is the recipient of the product, right?
Yes.
But I am in business to satisfy that client because that person is paying money for my product. Now, the next step is to think about what are the processes or what are the systems that I need to put in place so that that product will come out well as the customer wants. So in natural sense, it is a client or a customer that determines whether you are performing as a business owner or not. Because you're not producing for yourself. You're producing for someone, right?
Exactly.
So it's that person that determines whether what you are giving me, it's right or not. But then the next point is, how would I know as a business owner that I am giving the client what the client wants? So that there's something we call what? Some key performance indicators. In other words, what will indicate to me as a business owner that I am performing from the viewpoint of the client? So I don't determine performance. It's the client that determines performance. So I still want to bring it down home. Let's say the restaurant again. So I prepare jollof rice, okay?
Yes.
And WEEBIRDGROUPE, they are my clients. They want jollof rice from me. Now, they have told me how they want the jollof rice, okay? They said they want the rice to be, very nice, okay? It should be very colorful, less salt, all right? Less oil. So all those are indicators. So it's the client that have told me how they want it. So I then need to find a way to measure this jollof rice that I'm sending out. What is the quantity of salt like? What is the quantity of oil like? You see that? So when I'm convinced that I have reduced the salt content per what they said they want, the oil content, then I can be rest assured that WEEBIRDGROUPE would always patronize my jollof rice, right? But then the point is, what are the things I put in place to make sure that I deliver per those indicators they want? Now it also tells me about even my own recruitment too, where I buy my tomatoes, where I buy my oil, where I buy my, you see that? So then that the relationship now comes to a supplier. So you see a business. So there's a client, there's a product, then but someone else also give me my raw materials. So it influences where I buy my raw materials from. So then in the context of my supplier, I'm also the client. So I'm going to buy tomatoes from someone. So I also tell the tomato seller, please, the tomatoes, I don't want it rotten. I don't want it too soft. I want it this way. So I'm also giving some indicators to that supplier. So it's a whole value chain.
A very long chain.
Yeah.
Interesting. Kwaku, I'm just thinking along what you've been saying. I realize that you are very passionate about this area, and I was wondering what really drove you into system management over time. Because I always say this: every organization, even countries, they need to have proper systems in order for things to work. However, in our part of the world, systems are not really things that we are very much interested in. I mean, I'll be honest with you, you are one of the very few, systems, managers that I'm aware of. So I find it interesting what pushed you to enter that field?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So I must say that it's a training that I got in my multinational to open my mind to system thinking. And I can't help and appreciate the illustration you use that if you look at your human body, it's made up of systems.
Yes.
So many systems have to come together to keep you healthy. So in other words, when there is a problem too, then you go back to the system. You see that? But if there are no systems, it will be very difficult for you to do problem solving. So let's use the human body as an example. So the respiratory system, digestive system, circulatory system. Now you wake up one day and you have some symptoms. All right. But the doctor who knows the human body so well is able to appreciate that this symptom is linked to this system that is not working well, your respiratory system. That is why you have this nasal, whatever that you have, or your circulatory system, or your digestive system. So when you have systems well arranged, it helps with even easy problem solving because you know exactly which system would have failed. All right. Or you use your car. A car has so many parts. So those different parts of the car make up your car. So when you say the car is faulty, what does that really mean? It's a part of the car that is not working well. All right. Which is the overall output. So it's so easy to now go and zoom into that area of that part which is not functioning well so that you can always improve. That's why systems are important.
Great.
Extremely important.
Ghanaians love money. When we set up businesses, our concern is when do I get my first, car? When did I, change my car because I'm running a business now? What is your view on the people in this country, not just young, old people who are into businesses? The focus is money making. How do you, for example, convince a business person that invests so and so in systems? How would you even do that? Because what they are concerned about is making profit.
Yeah. And you're right. Yeah, I think that has been our orientation. All right. I don't know where it came from. Like I said, everyone's setting up a business, but we can't deny the fact, unless it's an NGO, right? Ultimately, I want profit.
Yes.
But then we are talking about, do you want sustainable profit or you just want profit immediately? All right. If I want sustainable profit, then I need to invest in systems. Why? Let me tell you the difference between if my mindset is I've set up a business to make profit. What could happen is that I could compromise on quality.
Yes.
Because I want profit, right? Now, if I compromise on quality, eventually that client who is patronizing that product will get to know. And now the person is not going to invest again. All right. So then eventually I'll lose that client or I'll increase prices. The profit margin is so huge. Now the client will find my product to be very expensive. There are 4 things that in marketing, some people use the word order winning criteria. Let me explain to you. Every consumer, regardless of the product, whether it's food, whether it's phone, the reason why someone prefers a Samsung to iPhone or an iPhone to Samsung, there is every consumer is interested in at least 4 basic things. That the product should be at the right quality. But at the same time, I want it to be affordable. from a pricing point of view.
Exactly.
At the same time, when I need it, I should immediately get it in terms of delivery.
Availability,
All right, or availability. At the same time, too, there should be some form of flexibility that, okay, assuming, let's say, someone who is manufacturing a beverage, okay, the flexibility comes in with producing it in different, let's say, bottle sizes. So somebody has a bottle size of 1.5 liters. If you just say it's only 1.5 liters you are producing, maybe my child wanted a 500 ml.
Exactly.
So that's flexibility. So you see those 4 things: availability, when I need it, I should get it.
Yeah.
The quality, affordability,
Affordability.
and the flexibility. And it's not easy always balancing them. If one weighs higher or you have more weighing higher than the others, you will suffer. So you can't also focus all on quality, because sometimes getting quality takes time. But at the same time, too, I want it right there and there because I have no time to waste. So your food can be very tasty. But if I always have to come and join a queue before I can get the food, sorry, I'm
One
no
day
longer
I'll find somebody else.
I'll find somebody else. That could also get me, it might not be as tasty as yours, but it might be close.
Yeah.
But then I get it easier. Anytime I want it, I get it. So if we don't understand this as a business person, if you don't understand what consumers want, your whole focus is on profit, profit, profit. Like I said, you're going to compromise on quality. You're going to increase your prices. Thereby, affordability becomes an issue. So with time, although temporarily you might get a profit, but with time, you're going to lose people and you're going to be out of business.
So that is why, for sustainability's sake, we have to build
Sustainability's
systems.
sake, you focus on systems.
So I have a very, this question there, I might get in trouble for it, but let me ask. There are some products, right, that there's so much advertisement on these products, so much. There's a lot of money that has been invested in advertisement, and they are doing very well. People are buying. Even though some people complain of its quality or whatever, the benefits they derive from it. How do you think advertisement on its own, right, is able to get people to surpass building systems? So they have not built a system like you and I have, you've mentioned, but they have marketing budget, advertising budget. So they are putting the products in people's faces. They keep doing it, and so people are still buying. So they are making profit. How do you, put the two together and see how advertisement, I think, is necessary for every business. But at some point, if people rely so much on advertisement and, put little effort into building system, how do you think that it ultimately affects the business from your point of view and your experience?
All right. So I like illustrations a lot. So let me
Makes it easier for us to understand.
Yes,
anyway,
exactly. Yes. Let me illustrate it this way. So let's say you have a very young, beautiful woman, all right, who is relying on her beauty, let's say, to attract a man. In a way, you can call that advertisement. But when a man comes to you and now realizes that even the way you speak, even the way you reason, it's not what I perceived you to be based on what you sold to me, what would the man do? Would that relationship last?
No, definitely not.
Same thing. So just to also emphasize that having a marketing, let's say, department to advertise is also part of systems. So it is systemic to have advertising. But if upon advertising everything, you still don't have other systems to make sure that what you are advertising, truly that is what I'm getting, with time you will still fail.
It will still fail.
Yes.
So essentially, let's talk about the young entrepreneur, Ghanaian entrepreneur,
Yes.
who wants to start a business. You mentioned 4 things, but if I don't have enough money, I'm now starting. Where would you advise that, for example, which systems should I build first?
Okay.
Because depending on my skill,
Sure.
I might not need all the systems at that point in time.
Sure.
So what do you think is the most basic system that every budding entrepreneur should have?
All right. So again, I will explain that the system is based on your client.
Okay.
But the first thing I would advise is that think about this business that I'm about to set up. What problem is it going to solve? That's the first thing. The best way to actually set up a business and make profit is if that business is solving a problem. So the first question is, what problem is it going to solve? If you identify that, then you will then know the kind of systems to build. Let me give you a classic example. Let's say someone wants to, there are a lot of delivery companies in Ghana, right?
Yes.
Let's say, okay, I want to go into delivery company as a young entrepreneur. That first question is, I need to understand, what are the current problems with delivery companies in Ghana? What are people complaining about? So maybe you would hear that even how the riders appear, they don't appear professional, they look anyhow. So sometimes people will give them directions and they will give them direction to a junction because I don't even want the rider to know my house because I don't even trust that rider. I don't trust that this rider can even bring me wholesome food. So let's take, for example, if that is it. So then what is the problem I want to solve? Okay, I want to solve this problem about, professionalism in the delivery company. So then I'll be thinking about how would my riders appear. It's part of the systems. Would I make them put on tie, shirt, nicely customized to now give you a different image? So if that is the problem you are trying to solve, all right, then it helps you to know that, okay, I need a system to make sure that I give my riders the right attire, a system to make sure that I give the riders the right training. It's all part of systems. Then there is another problem. People complain a lot about, these people take so much time. You call, the person will tell you, oh, I'm here in an hour, but the person comes in 2 hours. Most often, what is the problem? The maintenance culture of our bikes. So let's say people don't maintain their bikes. Like I said, because of profit, or, sometimes, manage it. So now, if I want to solve that problem in society about quick delivery, then I put a system of maintenance. You see that in place to make sure that as for my bikes, they are always maintained and serviced so that when the rider is in there in trade, he's not going to say, oh, sorry, madam, I can't come because I have this problem with my machine. I have this problem with it. So that is what I'm saying, that the kind of problem you want to solve will determine the kind of systems
put in place.
You should put in place. Yeah.
That's very insightful. So we have so many big multinationals who have lasted for some even centuries or over centuries. However, in our part of the world, we don't have that luxury. We don't really have a lot of businesses in Ghana that have that longevity. What do you think the problem is, and how do we resolve some of these issues? And also there's a threefold question. It's not wrong to copy. If it's a good thing, you can copy. So what do you suggest, we start learning from these big companies that have lasted for centuries and whatnot?
Back again is systems. So when we talk about systems, we talk about documentation so that you don't build your business around an individual. All right. You build it around a system. So that even when that individual is not there, it's a system that is running. Is that documentation? Again, I'll give you another illustration. So let's say there's one wonderful Ajia in my neighborhood. It sells so nice, like wachi. All right. Or maybe a chop bar. People patronize it. But most of you realize that when the owner dies, the business collapses. Because everything the owner knew, the person took it to the grave. There were no documentation, systemic that, okay, this is how we prepare our nkatenkwan. Having a recipe in place, a system. So that regardless of the cook who is coming, the chef, when that person comes, yes, you may know how to prepare your own nkatenkwan at home. But in this place, in this chop bar, in this restaurant, this is how we prepare our nkatenkwan.
SOPs, standard operating procedures.
Yeah, SOPs. But in the context of food, you call it a recipe. But some people feel that, if I put a recipe there,
they will copy.
Someone else will copy. So that secret of my longevity, I won't tell anyone. That's why when you die, you go with it. And now your children that inherit it, they have no clue what to do.
They are lost.
So then the taste changes and everything, and people start. So some research that I did that in Ghana, most often than not, the big businesses, when the owners, the so-called people who are famous, when they die, the company usually
Dies with them
collapses because they had not built systems. They had built the businesses
around
around them
themselves.
instead of a system. But a system would ensure continuity. That is not about you. So even when you are not there, this is how we do things. Any new person coming in will be trained on how we do things. And that is why the multinationals thrive.
But in this part of the world, we are afraid. People are afraid because the point is that people have had or worked with people and then they've had major issues. It happens a lot. When you talk to business people, they constantly tell you, I was working with this person, I started this business with them, they left and set up a competition. And it happens a lot. So do you not think that it is maybe us problem as Ghanaians? We have that culture of, let me look at what he is doing, let me get close to him, copy, and then go and replicate. I know that this may happen in other countries as well, but business people are very much wary of this, and they usually want to protect whatever it is they have. I agree with you that most of the businesses, they collapse after the owner or the person who starts it dies. But should we not start educating our young people to understand that it's okay to maybe collaborate instead of consistently, because it happens a lot where people start, people copy, and then now your competition is your protege, which is not necessarily bad, but how it is done sometimes is the challenge. So Kwaku, my other question is, from your perspective, how does sustainable business look to you? So for example, let me give you an example. I set up a business, it lasts for a year, but in that year, I was able to make, let's say, $1 million of profit, right? And another person starts a business. First year, he's made just about $20,000. But mine is done. I mean, 1 year, I'm off the market. I wasn't sustainable, but I made $1 million.
Okay.
This other person has made $20,000 profit in his first year. He's not collapsed yet. In your point of view, what is sustainability? That's what I'm trying to drive at. Because people want money. I mean, like we agreed on that. Of course, people start up money to make profit, but some people to have a way of, putting things together, quickly making their money and then leaving the space. What does sustainability in business look?
All right. So I'll come back to some basic things around the business. So in a business, there's also what we call the mission and vision, right?
Yes.
Of a business. And again, I want to explain it in very simple terms. The mission is the reason why you set up the business. You see that? And most of it, they represent your value, your core values, and they don't change. But the vision is how far you want to take the business. So then, like to your point, if the reason why I set a business is just to make some profit within a year or two, then that will be it. Then you cannot be talking about sustainability, right? Because that is why I set up the business. I didn't set up the business for it to last longer for my future generations to inherit. Then that's fair enough, right? But if the reason why I set up the business, especially is to help society, so that this business will be there for centuries, for my children's children to
come
inherit,
and benefit,
then you can't help but talk about sustainability. And with those ones, at the very initial stages, it may not be as profitable as you would have wished, all right? But then the more you build systems, all right, and you get more clientele, and see that business is very well established. So all those big businesses that you find, especially from the European countries and elsewhere, they've been around for years because of what? Sustainability thinking of it. So I agree with you. If the business was set up just to make some $1 million profit in a year or two, then I can't be talking about sustainability. But we can talk more about the one who really wants that business to last longer, even after I am gone. Then that's why you should think systemic.
Thank you, Kwaku. I think that at this point, I want people to get to know you more because you've said a lot about what you do. You've said so much about the things you do, how systems are relevant in our day-to-day activities, even business as well.
Sure.
Before we even get to know you, how relevant are systems within the family setting?
Absolutely. Again, the systems are everything in the family system. But you see, you think about it, I'm a Christian, so but I always want to look at things from God's point of view, right? The one who instituted a family put in systems
in place.
All right. So then by default, it says that when a man is married to a woman or a woman is married to a man, the head of the family is the man. It's system. so that there's no ambiguity about headship. He didn't say that, okay, when two people get married, the one who demonstrates more leadership skills to assume the headship arrangement. No. And he has clearly defined the roles of a man. That is system. Clearly define the role of a woman. That is system.
Systems, yeah.
Clearly define the role of children if children come in, so that the family can be very harmonious and live in peace. So if we go beyond what the originator of the family set up, the systems, in other words, if those systems are not working, then you can be rest assured that the family life will be all over the place.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You could tell us more about you. I mean, I know that you went to Prempeh College.
Yes, I'm a man for.
How was life in Prempeh College?
Sorry?
How was life in Prempeh College?
Prempeh College, oh no, I enjoyed it. I'm on for. But interestingly, I tell people that I really enjoyed life in my junior high and my uni than in SSS. But a lot of people enjoyed their SS life. And I'll tell you why. I was in a boarding house, actually.
Yes.
And of course, the pride to be in Prempeh
Prempeh,
College.
of course.
But I'm someone that the way I learn, I don't like someone to be on me, telling me when to the, and that's how I was during JSS, right? I remember a day before my BEC, I was busy playing football somewhere. That I learned at my own pace, but I learned very well. But then I couldn't cope with this prep all the time, go for prep, and I'm beating you. I don't like.
Yeah.
So that aspect didn't really make me enjoy my senior high as I would have. But being in Prempeh College and a kind of training and everything, that was marvelous. But I really enjoyed more junior high and uni. Yeah.
Okay. But so I mean, you went to junior high, you got into uni. What are some of the challenges you have faced in your career? Because I mean, of course, you've really made it clear how relevant systems are in all aspects of our lives. Even you just mentioned the family part. But the world is not devoid of challenges. Even though you have systems, there may still be challenges. So, wanted to know what are some of the challenges you have faced, in your career as you have progressed over the years, and how did you manage some of these challenges?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. Okay, let me start with my very first job. All right, after uni. The reason why I use a restaurant example was a restaurant manager. That was my very first job. I'd never done it before. It was never linked to the course I did at uni. So again, with systemic thinking, I decided to read, more on how to become a very good restaurant manager.
Yeah.
So, and the restaurant that I was privileged to lead, they had lots of food safety issues. And then to your point, the owner of the restaurant, all right, she believed in profitability and, so I remember at the very early stages, it was a challenge to get her to understand that if you don't even fix these food safety issues, we could even run into problems with the FDA.
Yes.
And when she wasn't even paying SNET and all those things for their workers, I tried to explain things to her for her to understand why we need to put those systems in place for the sustainability of the business. She was adamant, but you know what? Especially from the SNET point of view, when I gave her that advice, I think a month later, we received a letter from SNET. If someone has to court, we were not paying. So that was when she was like, and she used to call me manager. Hey, manager, you're okay, I know that. See. So it helped in a way to shape her thinking. So I would say that my greatest challenge going up in a career is to how to get people to appreciate systems. All right, that it is not a waste of time if you decide to be very structured, put things in place. Like I said, it helps with problem solving. But if you are persistent and you give people reasons why that will be eventually the best way to go, they try to buy.
Kwaku, thank you so much. I've had a very exciting conversation with you. And like as you speak, I think through life generally and everything that we encounter, work life, when we are in the corporate environment, your relationships, your friendships. So there are systems everywhere, and Thank you so much for giving us so much insight on systems and how to build them. We hope to see you again very soon so we have further discussions. Thank you so much for coming, Kwaku. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye. Was it an hour? Did it get to an hour?